Patricia Bosworth was born in 1933 in the United States and became a respected American journalist, biographer, and former actress, known for writing deeply personal books about famous and troubled lives. But her own life came to a quiet and devastating end during the earliest and deadliest days of the coronavirus pandemic. In March 2020, after returning to New York City from a research trip for a new book, Patricia began feeling unwell as COVID-19 entered her body at a time when the virus was spreading rapidly and hospitals were already overwhelmed. What first seemed like mild illness quickly escalated as the infection moved into her lungs, triggering pneumonia, a dangerous complication that severely limits oxygen and places extreme pressure on the heart and brain, especially in elderly patients. Her breathing became labored, her strength faded, and doctors were forced to admit her to the hospital, where she was placed on assisted breathing support as her oxygen levels continued to fall. Pandemic restrictions meant family and loved ones could not be at her bedside, and her final communication came through a nurse who arranged a video call, where Patricia, wearing a breathing mask, could no longer speak freely and instead wrote messages of love and goodbye on a notepad, fully aware that her body was losing the fight. Over the next 2 days, the virus continued damaging her lungs, reducing oxygen delivery to vital organs until her body could no longer sustain itself. On April 2, 2020, at the age of 86, Patricia Bosworth died quietly in a New York hospital from pneumonia caused by COVID-19, her death confirmed by her stepdaughter, making her one of the many intellectual and cultural voices lost during the pandemic's earliest wave. Julie Bennett was born in 1932 in Manhattan, New York, and became a beloved American actress and voice artist, best known for her iconic role as Cindy Bear in the Yogi Bear cartoons and later as Aunt May Parker in the 1990s Spider-Man animated series. But her long and vibrant life came to a heartbreaking end during the global COVID-19 pandemic. In March 2020, as the novel coronavirus began spreading rapidly across the United States, Julie contracted the virus at a time when hospitals were overwhelmed and the elderly were particularly vulnerable. What began as mild symptoms quickly escalated into severe respiratory complications as the virus attacked her lungs, reducing oxygen delivery to vital organs and placing extreme strain on her heart and brain. Her breathing became increasingly labored, her strength waned, and she was admitted to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center in Los Angeles, where doctors placed her on assisted breathing support. Yet her condition continued to deteriorate. Pandemic restrictions prevented many loved ones from being at her bedside, and her closest friend and talent agent, Mark Scroggs, remained her steadfast companion, providing comfort in her final hours as she quietly battled the relentless illness. Over the course of several days, her body's defenses were overwhelmed by the virus, and on March 31, 2020, at the age of 88, Julie Bennett passed away from complications of COVID-19. Cloris Leachman, who was born on April 30, 1926, was a legendary American actress and comedian famous for her powerful performances in The Last Picture Show, The Mary Tyler Moore Show, and Young Frankenstein, and she tragically died on January 27, 2021, at the age of 94, at her home in Encinitas, California. In the days leading up to her death, Cloris had contracted COVID-19, a virus that is especially dangerous for elderly bodies, silently placing extreme stress on her system, even without dramatic public warning signs. As the infection progressed, COVID-19 began affecting her blood circulation and overall stability, increasing the risk of clotting and vascular failure, conditions that doctors later confirmed had a direct role in what followed. At some point during her illness, Cloris suffered a cerebrovascular accident, commonly known as a stroke, when blood flow to her brain was suddenly disrupted, depriving brain tissue of oxygen. This event likely occurred while she was resting at home, as strokes in elderly COVID patients often strike without loud symptoms or enough time for emergency response. The virus weakened her body's ability to recover, and her brain could not regain control of vital functions. Her breathing slowed, consciousness faded, and her organs began shutting down as the damage became irreversible. With her daughter by her side, Cloris Leachman passed away quietly in her sleep, Her death officially ruled natural, with COVID-19 listed as a significant contributing condition that worsened her vulnerability and accelerated the fatal stroke. Annie Glenn, born Anna Margaret Castor on February 17, 1920, was the beloved wife of astronaut and U.S. Senator John Glenn and a lifelong advocate for people with communication disorders, admired for her courage and resilience. And she tragically passed away on May 19, 2020, at the age of 100, at a nursing home near St. Paul, Minnesota, due to complications from COVID-19. What happened to her unfolded quietly yet painfully, step by step. In her later years, Annie had moved to Minnesota to live closer to her daughter, Len, and despite her advanced age, she remained alert and engaged, inspiring those around her with her presence. But in early May 2020, the COVID-19 virus quietly entered the facility, spreading asymptomatically through caregivers, and Annie soon contracted it. At first, her symptoms were mild, and her family hoped she could weather the illness. But the virus slowly overwhelmed her body. Her oxygen levels began to drop, and despite medical care, the infection worsened, attacking her lungs and straining her century-old heart. In her final days, due to pandemic restrictions, her family could not be physically by her side, relying instead on video calls to share their love and say their goodbyes. On May 19, 2020, after a courageous fight against the virus, Annie's heart finally stopped, ending a life marked by courage, advocacy, and love. Her death was the result of severe COVID-19 complications, age-related vulnerability, and the relentless assault of the virus. K.T. Oslin, born Kay Toinette Oslin on May 15, 1942, the groundbreaking American country singer-songwriter and Grammy winner, tragically passed away on December 21, 2020, at the age of 78, at an assisted living facility in suburban Nashville, Tennessee, due to complications from Parkinson's disease, shortly after testing positive for COVID-19. Her final days unfolded quietly yet painfully, step by step. Diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2015, KT had been living in assisted care since 2016, bravely managing the progressive disease that gradually limited her once vibrant life. About a week before her passing, she contracted COVID-19, and though it is unclear whether the virus directly caused her death, it added to her fragile condition, weakening her body and complicating her final moments. Known for her sharp wit, theatrical flair, and her late-blooming career, KT first achieved major success at age 45 with her debut album 80s Ladies, whose title track became a generational anthem for middle-aged women, celebrating their resilience, humor, and independence. Over her remarkable career, she produced hits like Do Ya, Hold Me, I'll Always Come Back, and Come Next Monday, won 3 Grammy Awards, became the first female songwriter to win the CMA Song of the Year for 80s Ladies, and was inducted into the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame, leaving a legacy of empowerment for women and songwriters everywhere. Rina Gunawan, born June 28, 1974, the beloved Indonesian TV presenter, singer, and entrepreneur, tragically passed away on March 2, 2021, at the age of 46, in Jakarta, after a devastating battle with COVID-19, complicated by her pre-existing conditions of asthma and pneumonia. Her final days were a slow and painful struggle. Around the end of February, Rina began feeling short of breath, and her family quickly rushed her to Pertamina Simprug Hospital in South Jakarta. She was admitted to the ICU, where doctors fought to stabilize her fragile lungs. But the virus, compounded by her congenital conditions, relentlessly attacked her body. For about a week, she remained in critical condition. Her breathing labored, her strength fading. Her husband, actor Teddy Sia, could only communicate with her through brief video calls, seeing her wave weekly before she was placed on a ventilator. Despite all efforts, Rina's fight came to a heartbreaking end on March 2nd at approximately 7:04 p.m. WIB, leaving behind her 2 children, Akshal Ilham Siafatullah and Karnisha Ramasyaj, and a nation in mourning. Rina Gunawan is remembered for her remarkable life and achievements, She rose to fame as a singer with albums like Yudi, 1996, and Semlem Kau de Mana, 1999. She captivated audiences as a TV show host on programs like Camper Camper and Enda Memita Kami Memita. And she became a successful entrepreneur, founding Rina Gunawan Wedding Organizer, which organized high-profile celebrity weddings across Indonesia.